everybody, this is Keith here of Euphoria Pictures. Welcome back to my channel. Right, so for this video, it is going to be my top 10 Halloween themed movies to watch for Halloween. This is a video I've been wanting to do for a long time, and I was just waiting for October to come around so I can finally put it together. I knew I was going to have a lot of fun putting this top 10 together because anyone that knows me, I love this time of year. And I am a massive fan of Halloween themed movies, especially movies that just capture the tone of Halloween correctly. And I have to admit, the 10 that I've picked out here, I think have captured it beautifully. And I really do hope you enjoy the picks that I picked out here. Now, I just want to give you a quick heads up. This is not, me picking out traditional horror movies. So if you're coming across looking to see the likes of The Exorcist and, Friday the 13th, all them kind of movies, that's not what it's about. It has to be somewhat based around Halloween. And like I said, yes, I'm very happy with my picks that I got here. So let's not waste any time. Let's get on to this top 10. And yeah, here we go. Right, so at number 10, and this might be a surprise to a few people, but I have Monster House. This movie captures Halloween perfectly in my eyes. If you're not really aware of what the movie's about, it's about this young man who realises that the house across the road from him is basically a living, breathing monster. And with the help of two of his friends, they realise that this house holds a secret, and the three of them try to uncover this secret before this house basically destroys the neighbourhood. It's produced by Robert Zemeckis and Steven Spielberg. This is a 3D edition as well. And if you do have a 3D capable television at home, the 3D really does enhance the viewing of this movie. And yeah, like I said, it's just an absolute Halloween treat to watch. And if you have not seen this movie, I definitely recommend checking it out. So yes, that's my number 10 pick, Monster House. Right, so at number 9 we have got Night of the Demons. Now, if you've asked me this a couple of years ago, would I have this movie in my top 10, I would have said absolutely not. Because I didn't like it when I first seen it, but it's massively grown on me over the last couple of years, and I can't seem to get through October without seeing this movie. It's a movie about these friends that go to this old abandoned house, and they awaken this ancient demon, and one by one this demon starts overtaking the whole lot of them. It is a fun 80s cheese fest, but it does have a certain amount of charm to it. And the setting of the movie, the actual house itself, looks quite brilliant, it has to be said, considering its small budget. And amazingly enough as well, some of the practical effects were very impressive as well. So yeah, if you have not seen Night of the Demons, I do recommend you check it out. And it does give you a good sense of Halloween as well. So that is my number 9 pick, Night of the Demons. Right, so at number 8, we have got Haunt. Now, I know it says Halloween Haunt on this, but this is a German release. Everyone knows it as Haunt. And this is another one of these movies that actually took me a couple of viewings to fully appreciate this movie. And now it's one of my go-to Halloween movies to watch in October. It's about these friends that are celebrating Halloween. They go to this kind of fun house out in the middle of nowhere. That should have been the first red flag. And when they go into this fun house, they realise that the people that are running it are hunting them down one by one, so they must try to escape. This movie does give you a great sense of Halloween, and it has a fun cast. It's a very suspenseful movie. It can be very gruesome at times as well, so just beware of it. But if you have not seen this movie, I definitely think it's worth checking out, and I really do hope you do. So that is my number 8 pick, that is Haunt. Right, so at number 7 we have got Tales of Halloween. Now, this is a horror anthology movie, and I think it consists of around 8 stories. There's also a lot of talent behind this movie, some great directors. You've got Darren Lynn Bousman, who directed some of the Saw movies. You've also got Neil Marshall, who directed Dog Soldiers and The Descent. And of course, you got Lucky McKee in there as well, just to name a few directors. So like I said, there's around 8 stories in this. And I have to admit, all 8 of them are quite unique. They're exactly what you want when it comes to a kind of Halloween themed movie. You might have some monster stories, you might have a serial killer story, you'll have ghost stories, there might even be some comedy ones in there as well. And I had such a wonderful time with this movie, and if you are big into your Halloween themed movies, this is an absolute must to watch. So that is my number 7 pick, Tales of Halloween. Right, so at number 6 we have got Sleepy Hollow. There was no way I was going to do this top 10 and not feature Tim Burton in it. And this is definitely one of my favourite movies from him. It stars Johnny Depp, who is an investigator who is sent to the small town of Sleepy Hollow to stop the murderous rampage of the Headless Horseman. This movie just oozes atmosphere, and the setting of Sleepy Hollow is absolute key to the success of this movie, and Tim Burton done such a wonderful job of capturing the eeriness of this movie. The cast is fantastic in it as well, and there's a lot of mystery to this movie as well. But in my eyes, every time I sit down and watch it, I just get a good, strong Halloween vibe off this movie. And yeah, it's another one of these must-watches for October. And yeah, anyone that has not seen it, I encourage you to check this one out. I think you're really going to love it. So that is my number 6 pick, Sleepy Hollow. Right, so at number 5, we have got Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. What a treat this movie is. This one really, really took me by surprise. I didn't think it was going to be anywhere near as good as it actually is. It's about these 5 friends that go into this old abandoned house on the outskirts of their town. And they find this journal of a young girl named Sarah, who actually wrote down short stories about her tormented life. The only problem is when the 5 youngsters leave this house with the journal, Sarah is not done telling her stories, and one by one she starts telling stories about the 5 people that went into this house and took the journal. I think it's a wonderful movie. Again, a great sense of Halloween. I love the cast in this movie. Some of the creature effects look absolutely amazing, and it's also produced by Guillermo del Toro. If that's not an excuse to watch it, then I don't know what is. So yeah, that is my number 5 pick, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Right, so at number 4, we have got Hellfest. Now, anyone that's aware of my channel, you know how much I love this movie. This is the perfect Halloween movie. And that's saying a lot for the next 3 movies that I have to show off, if this is perfect in my eyes. It's about these 5 friends that go to this horror theme park, and they are being stalked by this fella here on the front. And one by one, he's picking them off. Now, the cast is very likeable in this movie. I really do like them. But I have to admit, the real star of the show is actually the theme park itself. It just gives you a great sense of Halloween. You know, I like the way this movie is done. It's not like an all-out gore fest of a movie. It's a bit like Halloween, where this fella is taking his time. He is slowly getting closer and closer to them the further this movie goes on. And if you have not seen Hellfest, and you're looking for a bit of a Halloween treat for this month, I honestly think Hellfest is the way to go. And if you are going to check it out, try and get the 4K release of it. You will not believe how stunning this looks on 4K. So yeah, that is my number 4 pick, Hellfest. Right, so at number 3, and it was a tough choice between number 3 and 2, but I've opted for this one, so it is Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. So as you know, this is one of my favourite horror movies of all time. And I was one of the fortunate few that could look past the whole Michael Myers not being in this and instantly appreciate the movie for what it was, which is a fun Halloween movie. Maybe the thing that was going against this movie was the fact that they called it Halloween 3. If they just left it at Season of the Witch, I think it would have found an instant audience. Thankfully, it has gained a massive cult following, and rightly so, because it is such a wonderful horror movie. I love the setting of this movie. The town is so unbelievably eerie, and Tommy Lee Wallace captured that eeriness perfectly with this movie. I love the casting as well. Some great characters in there as well. And I have to tell you, in my eyes, probably one of the greatest endings to a horror movie I've ever seen. Every time I watch it, it gives me goosebumps. And if you have not seen Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, I think you owe it to yourself to check it out. So that is my number 3 pick, Halloween 3. Right, so for number 2, we have got Trick or Treat. Now, I've said this to a few people that I think this is probably the greatest Halloween movie since Halloween. And I know that's a bold statement, but I stand by it. It really is that good. It's a horror anthology movie, and it's a different spin on the whole horror anthology thing, where the stories in this are more interwoven together. And I have to tell you, I think it's a lot better the way it's done. You know, you could be watching one story in this, and then all of a sudden you'll see in the background another story is actually going on that you will later see in the movie. And I just found it to be quite clever. I love the setting of this again, this small town that it's held in, and all the stories that you see in it are incredibly unique as well. And I thought Michael Dougherty done such a wonderful job directing this, and Bryan Singer I think is behind it as well. I think he produced it, and he might have co-wrote it as well with him. But again, it goes without saying, if you have not seen Trick or Treat, this is an absolute treat, and you really do need to watch this on Halloween night. So yeah, that is my number 2 pick, Trick or Treat. Right, so at number 1, surprise, surprise, we have got John Carpenter's Halloween. And why wouldn't it be at number 1? The movie that introduced us to Michael Myers. In my eyes, this is horror perfection. It really, really is. And as a matter of fact, I would like to put number 2 in with this one as well, because I've said this in countless videos. I can't watch this movie and not watch part 2 as well. I just seen them as one giant movie. And maybe, just maybe, they should have left the franchise alone after the first 2 movies. But that's just my opinion. I love the setting of this movie. John Carpenter done such a wonderful job directing this movie. And when you consider the budget that he had for it, and when you actually see the movie that he come up with, honestly, where else would you get it? And there's no wonder that John Carpenter became such a massive name, and rightfully so, when you do see this movie. So that is my number 1 pick, folks. That is Halloween, and of course, it was always going to be number 1. So that is my top 10, folks. So as per usual, if you did like this video, please do give it a thumbs up. And if you could do, leave a comment down below. And please do share your thoughts on my top 10. I'm kind of curious to hear what you're going to say out there. And yeah, I hope to see you all again real soon with my next video. Until then, I'll see you soon. Bye bye.